Good morning, grand rising, whatever you say to greet the day, and whatever time it is, wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night, nurse. I want to talk about how truth is kindness and lies are cruelty. And this is pretty much across the board. Now, people will often debate, and I get it, that there's such a thing as brutality and honesty, but they really don't go together. I would disagree because by the time you get to brutally honest, your gentle honesty has not been heard. It's been dismissed, it's been mocked, it's been countered with defensive, passive aggressive, again, deception. So if someone can't be truthful with you, they can't love you, number one. It takes truth and honesty and transparency to love someone. And vulnerability is necessary for intimacy, but not performative vulnerability or sad boy or sad girl vulnerability, because that's just another poor me kind of a thing. Now, we all have a sad girl and a sad boy inside us, and that's really what's coming out right now in what we would call the consciousness or the collective consciousness, if you want to go there, or just in the field, if you want to go there. I just want to stand 10 toes down, and I want to stand on business, and I want you to clock this, that when you lie, every time you lie, a demon gets their horns. And every time you tell the truth, an angel gets their wings. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll make it real simple for the crowd who needs it real simple. And I am being condescending with that. And I am having a hubris moment of, is the world really this fucking stupid right now? Or am I just Delulu? Or, what planet am I from? And can I go back soon, please? Because it's clearly not this one. So that's where I'm at with the lying liars who lie and do it increasingly badly because your vibe gives you away, your body language, your tone, everything gives you away. Now, I mean, politics is theater as much as theater is theater, right? Even more so sometimes. They're the biggest divas and the biggest liars and bad actors in the political realm, in the music realm for sure, and in the entertainment industry at large. We could also go and hit the royals and the churches, but they're pretty boring, so we'll leave them alone because karma's going to get them, and they already were born into a system of harm and of cover-up of said harm. Okay, so if you tell the truth and shame the devil is an old expression, right? But if you're in the pocket of the devil or even up the butt of the devil, and the devil is an abstract. In this case, we don't have to call it Lucifer or demons or, go religious with it. We can just say the dark side of your nature, right? We'll talk indigenous and we'll say the two wolves we all can feed. The feed of truth, light, and love, the wolf of truth, light, and love, or feeding the wolf of darkness, deception, and hate. And here's the deal. Here's the kicker. Here's the reversal. You ready? Take notes. Get ready. It's exciting. When you lie about things that there is no need to lie about, like it's just going to dig you into your hole deeper, then you really hurt yourself first and foremost, number one. All lies do catch up eventually. They just do, okay? In family systems, for example, if there's child molestation or alcoholism or addictions, that all comes out in the wash. And it's coming out now. We're seeing this trend, and it is a trend, and it is Mason theater and farce and fuckery, where they're pretending to talk about domestic violence, and they sit on couches with their crossed legs and their smooth voices talking about, all this stuff and how we need to really shine a light on it and we need to change the court system, and they're really smooth and slick. However, they are part of the very system, and I mean very much upholding and reinforcing the very system that they are pretending to call out. So that's moot, right? That doesn't do a damn thing except, rage bait, clickbait, looshing, trying to harvest your energy and give you a strong emotional reaction. That's all that is. So to see these men, and I use that term loosely, melt down on public television, reading their scripts and their talking points and getting increasingly agitated. And it's all of them. It isn't just one. It's all of them, dropping F-bombs and stuff. And fine, we all drop F-bombs now. It's 2025. However, you want someone in charge, right? Like you want someone, not a daddy, because gross. That's just them putting forth domination language and, misogyny in a great big bow or a red tie. Nobody needs a daddy right now. And yes, a lot of people on this planet do actually have daddy issues if you need a man in a suit to tell you how to live. Or if you need a woman in a suit and high heels to tell you how to live. Or a woman in a little house on the prairie dress to tell you how to live. Or a pastor at a pulpit shaking his fist and sweating and, hurt a kid the night before in ritual while he's giving a sermon the next day. You don't need these people to tell you how to live. You don't need me to tell you how to live. You need to go to your inner compass. You need to go to your original core faith and value system and morals, if you ever had any. Some people don't. Some people are born not evil per se. I believe in original innocence, but they are born, into compromised family systems, shall we say, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the 13 bloodlines. Anyone in Hollywood that you see has been groomed from birth, or sometimes pre-birth, and that's a whole other story for another time. But they're, a lot of them are, at this point, face masks, body doubles, clones, AI. You never know what's real, but if it's on television and it's a mainstream media outlet, you can know it's false. That's one thing we can say, is that the mainstream media is highly engineered. It's run by the big six corporations. Mockingbird Media, they all say the same things. They have the same scripts and same talking points, slightly different filters and language. That's it. That's all. When you know this, you can kind of just step back from the checkerboard and you realize they're in a loop and they're never going to get out. Like never. Because lies will just beget more lies. And truth tellers keep getting punished, shadow banned, censored. There's financial abuse that happens. There's death threats and rape threats. That's all part and parcel of being someone who wants to go, but the emperor is naked, dudes, and my guys, my dudes, my ladies, everything in between. When you want to say anything real in this realm that rewards deception and pushes forth the lies, and platforms the lies and gives the lies and the liars microphones and talk shows and, music tours and films, and it punishes the truth tellers, that's going to flip. That's what I'm hearing and feeling in my own psyche and soul, that not just the meek shall inherit the earth or the hunters shall become hunted or any of that kind of cliche stuff. It is just more of a reckoning, and it is more of it's like the drunk guy, right? He says all these shitty things, then he pretends to get sober, but really it's just stopping the behavior and never actually making reparations or amends. So you're then what is called a dry drunk. And we have a lot of that going on right now on the planet. People who are claiming to be in recovery, they're a different person now. They've had their redemption arc. They're not even, remotely that version of themselves anymore. However, they're not addressing the damage that was incurred or inflicted while they were that dark self, while they were hijacked and demonically puppeted under the influence, shall we say, right? It's kind of more like under the astral influence of entities, but that's, again, a whole other story for another time. Right now, we're focusing on sobriety and what that actually means. Like, there's the whole, California sober thing, which means you still do weed, which I think is kind of funny. And then there's people who will say, well, alcohol is not as bad as meth, or, well, weed is not as bad as alcohol. And at the end of the day, admit you're altering your consciousness. If you're a psychonaut and you're doing mushrooms, or you're doing LSD, or you're doing, anything, ketamine, whatever, whether you're under supervision and babysitting, ayahuasca, any of this stuff, you are not connecting direct. You're using a middleman, and that's okay if you need to do that. I've dabbled with different things and experimented myself with my own consciousness. I get it. I really do. Clarity is not always preferable. Sometimes fuzziness feels better. And some people do it with food addictions and sugar and sweet tooth. And some people do it with shopping. And some people do it with gambling. And some people do it with porn. There's all kinds of addictive tendencies that we as humans do have. We're looking for our next fix. We're looking for relief and release from trauma. So really, to me, all addiction and mental illness is trauma response. And anytime they try to throw diagnoses out there, I just laugh now, because I see it for what it is. It's just another attempt to control, manipulate, medicate, shut people up, give them this sense of specialness, like I have this or I am that. Nobody cares. Your labels are stupid. And as a Gen Xer, I just see through the ruse, which is that you're going to use your character flaws as excuses to be shitty. And then later, when you're less shitty, you're going to say, oh, but I did the work. I did the work, but you don't do the work. You're not doing the recovery work. You're not doing the steps. You're not doing the therapy. You're not doing the, confess, repent, repair kind of loop. And if that's too religious for you, then you're not doing the justice and accountability loop. Okay. So again, lingo, vocab. Everybody you run it through your own truth filters and take what works for you and leave the rest behind. This is not to me about politics or red or blue or left or right. This is about right or wrong. And at the end of the day, everything they're spinning you and spewing at you and shoving at you is a distraction. It is a designed distraction to take away from the rot underneath this very, very broken system with these very, very broken people who uphold that system and who will not look in the mirror, who will not look at their own behaviors. If I look at my own behaviors, I can see where I was compliant with the system, where I had fame hunger and love hunger, and where I had, my own passive aggressive ways because I didn't feel like I could be heard if I was direct and aggressive or assertive, because I wasn't. So you just have to find other ways, and you go, unfortunately, into strategy and survival rather than into transparency and thriving. So that is just where we're at as a planet. And there's the us and them games. There's the divide and conquer. There's the look over here, not over here. And there's still no Diddy and Epstein accountability for the clients who have hurt children, who have trafficked children, who have sodomized and cannibalized children. I am going to say those words because that is what happens in ritual. If you listen a little bit to any of the whistleblowers or defectors from these Masonic, diabolical, cult-like covens, because that's what it is, then you understand the bigger picture, and you understand the cover-ups, and you understand the lies and the distractions and the scandals and the celebrity crap is all just to keep your wheels spinning and not actually holding these so-called world leaders accountable, though they're not leaders in any sense of the word. They are chaos agents, and they are installed. They are not elected. They are selected. So I hate to tell you that your voice and your vote in that system doesn't mean anything, but outside of that system, it means everything. When you go and grow a garden, raise a child outside of the indoctrination system. I mean, I grew up with a whole lineage of educators, public educators, and now I wouldn't tell anyone to go to college. And I would say either learn a trade or work and save and buy yourself some land, because that's what's real. And I loved my education, don't get me wrong. I'm very glad I have my degree. It doesn't mean much anymore, but I struggled for it towards the end because of my mental health and my peace after having been date raped in college, and feeling that violation that never leaves you. It never leaves you. So when they say, why she wait so long? Why bring something up 20 years later? That's just a clout chasing, shakedown, false accusation, money grab. No, it's that whole time you're trying to heal. And you're still not fathoming how somebody could not hear your no and push past your no. And why consent hasn't even been a discussion until recently. And so you're go into a bubble where you don't trust people anymore, especially men. You think that everything they say is a lie because they spin you a whole load of bullshit to get you, to the bedroom. And then, like I said, they don't hear your no. And that's what's going on. And there is a rape culture. That is a thing. So anybody says otherwise is a rapist. That's the end of that. So what we have to do is create consent culture where it is normalized that people, when they're trying to push past your boundaries or pretending you don't have the right to have any, you challenge that. And that's what's happening now in the TikTok-osphere with these domestic violence conversations, which are very surface, very vanilla, and very fluffy, and are being more made into skits than something serious, which should be taken seriously and should be held accountable. And there are degrees. It's a spectrum like anything else. Someone grabbing your ass at the bar is not the same as, say a gang rape into a death cult. That's severe and heinous, and anybody who would ever try to lead you into those situations should be shot on the spot. Personally, I don't care. I think these handlers, these groomers, these pimps are just as bad as the perpetrators. They are a different kind of perpetrator. The recruiters, the Ghislaine Maxwell's to the Jeffrey Epsteins. There's so many of them out there, you guys. The Oprah to every freaking predator we've had in the last, 30 years. There's Oprah, birds of a feather. And so accountability may not happen through the courts, but there will be cosmic justice, and there will be reckonings, and there will be, not wars, because it's a stupid word for stupid people, really. When you say, we're warriors, and we're at war, we're going to have war. It's just G.I. Joe and Barbie shit. Grow up, evolve past war, and the primal, slime of that, and learn how to battle your own demons within you. It's the only war you should ever go to. Your own pride, your own ego, your own fears, your own insecurities, your own projections. And that's something I have personally worked on since I was about 15. I've been in and out of therapy, and sometimes it helped, and sometimes it made things worse. And, I've had great therapists, and then I've had some shitty ones. And all I can say is it's up to you to go do the work, the inner shadow work, the child work. I have all these women who come to me for intuitive counseling, and they're leaving these men, and their men are acting like they're blindsided. Well, how many birthdays did you forget? How many anniversaries did you forget? How many times did you talk down to her in front of the children? How many times did you forget to put gas in the car? Like, it could be little things up to the big things, right? How many times did you cheat? How many times were you on Instagram liking other people's posts? How many times were you on porn? How many times were you not where you said you were? So just the little deceptions all add up to the big deceptions. And if they will lie to you about something little, they will lie to you about World War III. And so that's all inside us, that energy signature of battle and of war. And it's so boring at this point, like in our evolution, to think that we're still in that kindergarten throwing sand in each other's eyes place. But, I mirror that. I consciously and deliberately will mirror that to show its absurdity, stupidity, and futility. And it's not that it's fun for me, but it is kind of a hobby at this point, and a survival tactic and technique as well. And it's not revenge. I don't care to do revenge. I feel like that's creator's pay grade. That's way above my pay grade. Karma will take care of it. Time will take care of it. Their own actions and behaviors will take care of it. They will out themselves one way or another, and evil eats their own. So I've always said the sun, the moon, and the truth. It's an old Buddha quote, apparently, or at least attributed to him, right? 3 things cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Okay? And no, the moon's not rising. And the sun is not, fake or being a projection of some, whatever. Creator made those things. Creator made the sun and the moon, and they are equals. The sun rules the day, and the moon rules the night. The sun will always rise, and the moon will always appear and disappear, because that's what the moon does. It's a little more sneaky. The sun is pretty bright. You can't escape it. It can burn you. The moon is in charge of the tides and the changing moods of the world. They do work together. They are a team. With one without the other, and the world would not exist. So if you exalt one or the other, you're missing out. And often in the cult, they have these sun and moon metaphors all the time, and they'll say the sun is the masculine energy, and the moon is the feminine and yin, and, it's really just a lot of overlay and bullshit for something that one lights up, heats, and warms. The other is nostalgic, dreamy, and inaccessible, very, very far away, whereas the sun you can feel right on your skin. So make choices, we understand that day and night are different, and yet we need both. And so it's not like the sun and the moon are going to war, you guys, and sometimes they even kiss with solstices. I mean, not solstices. What am I trying to say? Equinoxes. No, those are holidays. Eclipses. That's the word. Brain fart. Brain fog. Fog of war. Anyway, so yeah, I'm so tired of the frat boy shit, and I'm so thrilled to see all the young, yes, and even angry and hilarious women on TikTok just absolutely calling out the garbage behaviors. And it has to happen, a balancing, a reckoning, and a karmic awareness and awakening. And you want to call it the global reset. You want to call it apocalypse, whatever you want to call it. Again, language, lingo, vocab. The times they are a changing. I don't know if the future is female, but right now the females are pissed. And they're not just pissed like angry women who's lonely and bitter and just go be a cat lady. No, 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 no. We have a lot of vibrant, sexy women into their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s who are pissed and who are vocal. And it is a glorious thing to behold, because when the boys come and whine and they become petulant little prince brats, the queens are coming, the empresses are coming, the goddesses are coming, and they aren't going to be your mama, and they don't need a daddy. They're here not just to play, but to stay. So deal with it. Have a great day. Until next time.